kidding me?
What's up guys, GorillaHamz here. Y'all asked for the game room tour. It's been a long time in the making, but I'm excited to show y'all around. Let's get into it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Alrighty, let's jump into it. So the very first thing when you come downstairs is I put all my hats on the wall to the left. You know GorillaHamz likes to wear his hats when he streams. Come down, see which one fits me that day. In the middle is a Mickey Mania poster from the Sega CD game that I laminated and hung up. The very first wall you see, I like to call the Ninja Turtles wall. It's got that Manhattan Project poster from Nintendo Power and the original movie poster from 1990. That's a perler bead Leonardo and a jigsaw puzzle below that I put together and hung on the wall. Through this door is the 80s and 90s room, which we'll get to in a little bit. We got Cloud, Crash Team Racing right there, but kind of hiding around this corner is what I like to call my Mega Man corner. Always been a huge fan of Mega Man, one of my favorite games growing up. So I got that tapestry and that poster, and this little cabinet that lights up. I really like this. At the top, we've got that plug-and-play Mega Man 2, the plushie. All those action figures on the first shelf are from the 90s and 2000s. All my boxed NES games there with the Tiger Electronics handheld game. Those were so great. Got the book that came with Mega Man 11. Got the PlayStation games there. I got a Game Boy in there which has Mega Man for Game Boy in it. I think Mega Man 2. A few more on my Switch and boxed Mega Man 6 and the action figures at the bottom. Just like to kind of come over into this corner and look at the Mega Man collection time to time. It's nice having it all in one place. Working our way back over towards the wall is actually going to be the backdrop that you guys usually see while I'm streaming. So let's go ahead and take a look. So on the back wall here, we have all of my Nintendo Power posters. I do have the first 50 issues, and I went through with an X-Acto knife and cut them all out and had them laminated. I know that's sacrilegious, but I wanted to preserve them for my own personal collection. I still have all the magazines underneath my coffee table down here. That Pac-Man 1-Up Arcade, that one always appealed to me. It has that wood grain on the side. I just love it, kind of reminds me of the 70s. That gets played a ton, by the way, when people come over. And my main collection here is this shelf. As you can see, Sega at the top, Nintendo. I mainly collect for NES. At the bottom, we've got Super Nintendo, Sega games, a bunch of random stuff. I actually have a lot of Wii games, but Nintendo is my main console. I mean, it depends on what I come across while I'm out in the wild, if I'm at a flea market or a thrift store, but I mainly seek out NES games. Got more Nintendo Power posters over here, and this is actually a 1-Up Arcade Marvel vs. Capcom. I took out the original controls and put in these light up LEDs. And then over on the side here, I actually mounted a Retro Pi, which runs up into a converter and goes into the monitor. The problem is you lose sound, so what I had to do is I actually had to mount up on top here this preamp, which runs down to these two huge speakers I put inside the cabinet. This thing frickin' cranks. I mean, when I have friends come over and we play this, the entire cabinet rumbles. It's a ton of fun. It plays everything from MAME to Nintendo, PC Engine, Virtual Boy. It has a ton of stuff in it, so this actually gets played quite a bit as well. Let's make our way over to the game area. Back to you, GorillaHamz.
Alrighty, so let's take a look over at this side of the room.
So over here is kind of the hangout area. We've got ping pong, foosball, darts. I always wanted a foosball table in my basement. I had one growing up in the basement of the house I lived in, and so I was super thrilled when I picked up this table. As you can see with the lighting down here, it's kind of like a mood lighting. So I did install these little magnet lights, and you just reach up here and you tap it, boom, and we've got overhead lighting for the foosball table. Pretty great, you just pull them down and charge them whenever. There's all my board games in the corner. I do love board games. And of course, Dallas Stars neon hockey sign. Let's frickin' go Stars. We've got ping pong and all of those discs on the wall. As mentioned, I am a big disc golfer. Those are all Signature Series discs or collectibles or signed discs. Got darts here. Steve Ray Vaughan, a huge influence on me because I do play guitar. This is the adult section here. I'm kidding. Behind that is my water heater and my furnace. More discs on the pillar right here. I like that Michelangelo one that you just saw. This little Red Bull mini fridge, this has a story. When I got that dartboard, the guy was a Red Bull sales rep, and he was like, hey, if you're putting this in a man cave, I got something you're gonna like. Check this out. Needless to say, I immediately jumped on that. So over here, this is what I'm usually looking at while I stream. That's a collector's edition of Octopath Traveler on top of my Super Scope there. Here's my Sega CD, which is the one that actually docks with the Genesis right next to it. I kind of like that setup. I found that, I think, at a flea market. Right here is my original Nintendo from my childhood. Unfortunately, I replaced the 72-pin connector. Still doesn't work, but go Buffalo Bills, growing up in Buffalo there. I got those two Game & Watches. When those came out, I figured they'd be fun to collect. This is a Atari Mini, and then down below here is the Commodore 64 Mini, which is actually pretty fun for what it's worth. This is my Game Gear. It's the blue version. It's slightly more rare than the black version. It's a little more valuable. I was pretty thrilled when I found that on Facebook Marketplace, I believe. Got my NES Advantage on top of a slim PS2 and my PS3 there. These bins are basically where I keep all of my cables, controllers, accessories, games I haven't logged into the app where I keep track of my games yet. Really just kind of miscellaneous bins, but mainly controllers and cables and all that stuff. Working back over here, this is my Atari 2600. However, this is the specific version that was released by Brand Names, I believe. It's called the Telegames. It's just a 2600, however, it doesn't say Atari right on it, and it's branded differently, which is a little more valuable. It's kind of interesting that they were able to do that back in the day. It's like selling a Nintendo at, Walmart and just putting Walmart on it. I got my Wii U right there, and over here is my Sega Master System. This was actually the competitor for the NES. A lot of people don't know about this console. And I've mentioned before on my stream, if you watch the regular show, this is the console they're always playing in that cartoon, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So here's all the perler art. There's Sephiroth, the boss from Double Dragon. We got all the Simpsons characters from the Simpsons arcade game. Got some Mario power-ups there. We got Contra, the Spread Shot, and Excite Bike over to the left. And then over on this side, that little Smash poster came with the Smash for the Switch when it came out. Those guns are actually real guns for the Wii, which are pretty awesome if you play shooter games. Power pad is inside that box, that is complete. And the DJ Hero peripheral up there, which is actually super fun. A lot of people don't know about DJ Hero. It's a good time. Got my black GameCube here. This is my second Super Nintendo. I have the other one over in the 80s and 90s room. I got that for cheap, which is why I grabbed it. This Dreamcast right here, this was so yellow when I got it. I did that method where you bleach it in the sun with like the hair bleach, and it turned out so good. So that has a little sentimental value. Got my PS1 right here. Down below that is my N64 running the EverDrive 64, so you can play all the ROMs on the original hardware, which is great. I do enjoy busting that out because of the easy 4-player. And then this is a Neo Geo Mini, which you can play in this adorable little tabletop mode, or plug an original controller into it and it plays on the TV, which is amazing. That console is super cool. A lot of people don't know about that. Backing up here, we've got Big Buck Hunter, which is always a fun party game when people come over. And up behind that is the world map included in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for Super Nintendo. I took it out of the box and I framed it just because I was surprised when I bought that game loose. It came with the game and just that manual. So I was like, well, let's preserve this somehow.
And just next to the hangout area, down this hallway, is the jam room. Come check it out.
Aw, yeah, the jam room. We got some old beer cans on the hallway here as you walk up. You have to look up and just take a look at the Zen tapestry. That just feels right for a jam room. So we come back here when we want to jam, unwind, do some karaoke, whatever it might be. These are my guitars all hanging on the wall. Taking a look over to the left, we have a few more posters. That's a tube amp. That's a Bugera V22. Great amp. Got a loop station, distortion, just a few basic pedals there, a compressor. Looking at my guitars real quick, this is my original. This is a 98 Fender Stratocaster. Still plays great to this day. This right here is a 95 Kurt Cobain Jagstain Signature Series. What a great guitar. I love that blue, super rare, just a gem. This is Slash's Snake Pit Signature Series Les Paul, the heaviest sounding guitar I have. And right next to that is my Fender Elite Telecaster, super twangy. I just love the finish on this guitar. Look at that aqua finish, absolutely beautiful. We do have a full drum kit right here in the corner. Next to that, we're gonna have the keyboard, as well as a spare amplifier for bass or guitar if someone else wants to jam. And there's the second microphone for karaoke in the speaker. Just a fun little bonus. Is it time for the 80s, 90s room? And last but not least, we've got the 80s and 90s room in here. This is one of my favorite areas, honestly, to hang out. Come take a look. The 80s and 90s room, my favorite room. Look at that old alarm clock first off. That thing sounds like a nightmare when it goes off, but listen, it's all about the nostalgia. We got Ninja Turtles over the window. You gotta keep it dark in this room. It's a hang. Looking around, there's my CRT, all of my old consoles there hooked up to that television. That's a beautiful TV, by the way, got it for free. Working our way over here, yes, that is a Polaroid camera on top of my VHS shelf. All of these VHS I've gotten for free, maybe a few dollars here and there, but people are giving away VHS tapes, and I got some good ones. Look at the Ninja Turtles down at the bottom. Look at these classic comedies. These are great movies. The skateboard, hey, that's a boosted board. We're not going to talk about that. Let's just call it a skateboard. The Nickelodeon poster, the sports pennants, I had those in my room as a kid. Mario 3, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out Perler Art, again, my favorite NES game. Back to the Future, my favorite movie from the 80s. Dumb and Dumber, probably my favorite movie from the 90s. A couple of trippy posters. This one actually doesn't belong. That's from the 2000s. I don't want to talk about it. Listen, if you're going to spend the night, you got to call your mom on that phone. But also, look at this awesome little Mike Tyson's thing that I found at a game convention. That's Tyson standing over Muhammad Ali, I believe there. Working my way over to this dresser. Hey, I got my Pogs, I got my Slammers. If you know, you know. Look at that awesome Cuphead thing I got there. That was actually given to me by the famous Rob Zilla. And yes, that is a over-the-shoulder camcorder right there. A calculator, cassette tapes, CDs, whatever it might be. Open up this drawer. I've got a bunch of old 8mm tapes, whatever they're called, the converters. It's just fun to hook that thing up to the old TV and watch like old movies. Looking right here, I've got this little table, got the Nintendo, Super Nintendo running. Is that a Blockbuster container? Oh, yes it is. With the Super Mario Brothers movie in it. I found that on eBay. Got Game Genie down below. Here's my Super Nintendo running the SD to SNES, so an EverDrive. You can play every Super Nintendo game on that original hardware. Down below we've got my Nintendo. This is my EverDrive for my Nintendo, so again, basically play any game you want. There's my VHS player. I got another VCR next to that. I just found them for free. Here's my Sega Genesis, of course, with an EverDrive in it, so we can play any game we want. Have I said that enough? I do love this TV again. I know I said that. Such a beautiful color on there. A couple of box games up there, Manhattan Project and Metal Storm. And here's the view when you're leaving the 90s room. You know, we hung out, we did a sleepover, we had a ton of fun. I'm pretty sure if we walk out here, GorillaHamz is going to be waiting for us as soon as we peek around this corner. Well, that about wraps it up, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this game room tour, and thank you for requesting this video. It's always been a dream of mine to do a game room tour, so this was super fun. I'm sure the collection will keep growing, the room will keep changing, so we may have to do an update video down the line. But until then, I'll see y'all on the stream soon. Take care.
Freak, are you kidding me?